There we go.
Got it?
Thank you. Where was
All right.
We are in Long Beach, California.
Hello.
We made it. We're here. Long Beach, how we doing? By the way, who is not from this area? Who traveled in for this? Fantastic. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Yes.
This is a lot of fun. We've got to do this before, and I always enjoy getting to share the stage with you. So something I do want to talk about, something that popped up on my news feed this week was a blip from, I'm assuming the most recent episode of the podcast.
Okay.
And I want to dive a little bit deeper into this. I want to dive a little bit deeper, and that is, I just saw a small clip, but something about a boy band dance. Is this? Did anybody see this?
Yes.
So was this something that was done like during downtime?
So we created downtime,
You
which
created-
is why our crew hated it.
Well, you should just do it, right?
Yeah.
5, 6, 7. Yeah, no, this is Will's invention. You know, we had our show, we taped in front of a live studio audience, like they used to do back in the good old days. And by the time we got to 7th season, we wanted to entertain the audience in-house, completely separate from the show that we were filming. And yeah, the crew hated it because we moved all the cameras. And
Took like 20 minutes.
yeah, it was a big production.
Big to do.
It was a whole bit. Basically, Will would start it by saying, or you and Ben would start it by saying, "Has anybody liked the Backstreet Boys?"
Yeah.
And everybody would cheer. And then they rope Matt Lawrence into dancing with them.
And then we say, Ryder doesn't want to do this, Ryder doesn't want to, and start dancing to I Want It That Way.
And then I'd
Ryder would
out.
flip in, like do this like round off in. And yeah, it became a thing. And then we were literally just with the Backstreet Boys like a month ago. And they're like, wait, tell us about this dance. Show us this dance. So as you're sitting with AJ going like, I don't want to show you the dance. But it was a lot of fun. And by the way, if you get a chance to see them at Sphere, it's really an amazing show. So yeah, it was really incredible.
How much do you learn about the show while doing rewatches for the podcast?
Quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, so the reason we started the podcast actually was because I had never watched Women's World. So, yeah,
Never
this
seen
is the
it.
first time.
There's so many faces being made right now as I look around.
It was just Danielle and I going like, you were on a show. It's called Women's World. We filmed it for 7 years. You should watch it.
And it's good, guys. I like it.
You should see what you did. It was good.
Yeah, no, so I'm still like baffled by 7th season. Like people, even today, somebody was bringing up an episode from season 7. I'm like, I have not gotten there yet.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So, and it's amazing because a lot of the stories that come up are just things we remember from actually filming, like behind the scenes
Right.
stuff. So an episode will come up that none of us remember. And Danielle and the three of us will be sitting there saying, I don't remember this at all. But, oh wait, this was the week where, and then it was something that actually happened behind the scenes that we'll remember.
Do you remember the bagels at Craft Service?
Yeah, right, that kind of thing. This is the week that Mickey Dolan slipped on a banana peel. I mean, whatever it is. So that never happened. Mickey was a sure-footed man. But it was, yeah, so that's the thing. It brings up a whole bunch of memories that we are kind of, every week it's unlocking entire new chapters where it was like, oh wait, that's right. I completely forgot about this or completely forgot about that. So, yeah, it's been interesting.
Again, I love having you up on here to, hear some of these stories, but I'm going to ask you about doing conventions like Long Beach Comic Con and other shows that we've done, Twin Cities, this, past November.
Yeah.
What is your biggest takeaway from doing these events and meeting with the fans?
That's easy for me. Is we have the best fans in the world. Bar none, no question. Boy Meets World fans are the greatest fans in the history of fandom. They're just amazing.
Yeah.
We all grew up together.
It's the thing, yeah. There's a sense of like, we're all of the same generation. Obviously, you guys were watching us grow up, so there's a real identification. We were really growing up in real time, and I don't know. It's just so nice, especially for me, like having not watched the show and kind of not really understood it, to now be able to look back and connect with people who love the show and understand why, and be like, yeah, I get it. Like, if you identify with Sean, like now I know what that means a little better. I'm older, I can sort of appreciate it, and it's just been, it's so fulfilling. It makes us feel really
This show not just had legs and was popular, but had that lasting legacy that, Mr. Feeney's words would live on to this day here in 2025.
I mean, I don't know. I'm still kind of realizing.
Yeah, I think so. I think I am too. Because one of the other things we talk about on the podcast a lot is, TGIF itself, the block of TGIF was on for like 15 years. And there was a whole lot of shows that we'd never heard of. So, you're kind of going through the list and like, there's one called like Alien in My Family, and and then there's huge shows like Full House and things like that, and you never knew what was going to sustain and what wasn't going to sustain. We had no idea. We really had no idea. We didn't even get picked up for a full season when we were first picked up. We got picked up for 13. I talked to people on the crew the first couple episodes that were like, this is going to be fun, but this isn't going anywhere. So enjoy it while you last. I hear that a lot. Enjoy it while it lasts and all that kind of stuff. And maybe don't buy a car or a house just yet. And then it just kind of kept going. And we were never, we talked about this again on the show, we were never that super popular show when it came to publicity. Like Melissa Joan Hart, when Mel came in and Serena came in, there were billboards everywhere, and she's all over the place, and Full House is everywhere, and you saw Urkel everywhere you went. And Boy Meets World just kept going. Like no one ever really gave us any publicity. We were just kind of the little engine that could. I always likened it to that. Anybody here remember that show, Wings? Yeah, Wings went 8 seasons. Nobody's ever seen a poster for Wings ever. I'm not sure they ever even made one. That's what Boy Meets World was. We just kind of kept going on the TGF block, and we didn't realize we thought we were entertaining our family and the people that were coming to the show to watch the show. So to then find out it had such a lasting legacy, it still does, and it's finding today fans coming up to us who are 10, 11, 12 years old that are finding the show, that are watching it with their parents or sometimes their grandparents, is really amazing. And whole new generations. And Girl Meets World sparked the whole thing where there's an entire generation of kids who watch Girl Meets World whose parents went, this started as a different show. And then they're going back and finding the good one. No, it is. It's really, it's found a whole new life. And now I think with the podcast and everything, it's really been remarkable.
Is there a moment while doing some of these rewatches? Is there a moment? Was there a Feeney lesson that didn't resonate with you back then while you were filming it? You were young, but you look back and you're like, "Holy crap! That was a really good message."
Yeah, actually, it was early on when we were doing the show, the podcast, and in the first season, there's an episode where Rue McClanahan visits. Grandma was a Rolling Stone, and the whole storyline is that she is like this wonderful grandma that Corey loves, and then she kind of lets him down and doesn't pick him up for a day that they're supposed to have together. And the end of the episode is Alan, Rusty, the dad, the great father figure, giving like this amazing message to Corey about how his grandma loves him, but she's not reliable. It was just a beautiful message. And then I want to say a month or two after we recorded the podcast episode about that, this happened in my life. Somebody let my son down in my family, and I was texting with Will and Danielle about it. I was like, I just don't know how to talk to Indy about this. And we were like, wait, Grandma was a Rolling Stone, just be Alan. And I was like, oh my God, I'm learning from Boy Meets World. I know that Aaron. Yes, it still happens. They read these messages it's timeless. I think that's why the show's lasted, even despite our hair and our 90s clothing. There's something timeless that was built into it. The writing was really good, and the fact that Mr. Feeney was such a great figure. The values of the show are just universal and timeless. Yeah.
You talk about the fandom, and one thing I want to talk about, we talked about it at Twin Cities down in Minnesota, and that is kind of how the baseball world has kind of taken you in. You have your own cards, there's collectors having you sign balls and jerseys. What is that about?
It's because I'm such a jock, right?
Yeah.
It's, I'm so into sports.
Ryder and I just got winded walking up those 3 stairs. Bill and I sitting past us.
No, I mean, I am so not a sports person at all. So when we went, they asked us to throw out the first pitch at a Phillies game.
We both went, Danielle.
We're like, Danielle, you gotta do that. Ain't Japan can do it. We can't. Yeah, but it was overwhelming and super fun. And then
Baseball cards? Like, it's so
Yeah.
cool.
It does. Boy Meets World for some reason lends itself to multiple fandoms. Yeah. So like WWE, professional wrestling, has fully embraced us, and vice versa. So we're going to all these, SmackDown and all these huge things, and these enormous wrestlers are covered in sweat, throwing each other down, like going Topanga, and we're like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. I just saw you throw some guy in his head. So I mean, it's really amazing to just see the number of people that have grown up with the show and are really kind of embracing all of Boy Meets World. It's great. So yeah, and I mean, you have your baseball card. People, I have my own baseball card. Yeah. So I hurt my arm signing them, but.
So we do have about 20 minutes left if you guys want to get in line. And while people are throwing elbows, pushing each other, kicking each other, well, I want to ask you, while we have William on stage, do you have a favorite Feeny call?
Probably the long one where I in the classroom. That's probably my favorite one. That was by the point where I realized it was like, oh, they're just kind of they're going to let the camera roll and just kind of let me do what I want. So that was fun. And I was always trying to break Bill, to get Bill to laugh. That never happened.
it did happen once.
It happened one time, yes.
When you
One time
jump
when I
out the
jump out the
window?
window, yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, he's such a consummate professional that you couldn't, and I think it became kind of a game between the two of us where he's like, you could try, but I've forgotten more about this business than you'll ever know. So it was, no matter how much I tried, I couldn't do it, but I think it was me trying to get Bill to break it.
One of the most interesting stories, and somebody asked the question recently, was how did Bill enjoy doing the Bob Newhart show? There was somebody and he's probably forgotten it, but I'll never forget it because the two of them broke each other up so that neither of them could do anything.
Oh, man, I want to see that.
The show was going to be about because they couldn't get through a line without laughing.
Wow, that's so funny because he was on our set. He was so in Feeny mode.
Yeah.
We never got him to break.
Oh, Bill
Bob
Daniels and
Newhart
Bob
did
Newhart.
it.
Oh, Bob Newhart can make anybody break.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Now, did the script just say Feeny call and then like it was?
Yeah, just Mr. Feeney exclamation point.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that might as well be a page and a half long.
Hello, what's your name?
Hello, my name is Red.
Hi, Red.
Sorry. I know. First of all, I'm from the generation that grew up with Girl Meets World.
Sorry.
And of course, one of the clips from Girl Meets World had recently gone viral regarding the autism episode.
Oh, yeah.
And I know some of you guys were not really involved in the writing, but looking back in the 90s, do you think you guys would have handled autism, the topic of autism, because you guys have dealt with a lot of serious topics back then. Do you think you would have handled it better than Girl Meets World if you had made it back in the 90s?
I doubt it. I mean,
I think there's more. I think from a scientific standpoint, there's more known about autism now when they did Girl than there would have been in the 90s when we did Boy. That being said, I think the writing on Boy would have been better than the writing on Girl. Only because Boy was ABC. So primetime shows, we would have had a lot more leeway to delve into it more than you could on Disney Channel. Disney Channel there's only so much you're allowed to hit. So it's a strange balance in that we know more about autism now, and every kind of thing on the spectrum now than we did back during the 90s. That being said, I think we would have had more leeway to delve deeper into it in the 90s on ABC than we would have on Girl Meets World on Disney Channel.
Oh, and Sean, congratulations, your stepdaughter just released her new album this week.
yeah.
Again, I want to add to that. Bill directed in St. Elsewhere. He directed one show on St. Elsewhere, and it was about autism.
Oh.
And I remember how he worked so hard and went out to the places and watched and everything. And then one of the things I remember so well is that they had to be so careful when they took the children into the water. Because they had to be really on top of them, because it was so easy for an autistic child to just go under and not think anything about it. And I'll never forget that.
Hello, what's your name?
Hi, my name's Samantha, and I just want to say that I'm a high school English teacher who actually uses your show all the time.
Yes.
So my question is actually for all my students who are seniors, so they're finishing up their last year of high school, they're applying for college, and they're trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. So for all of you, what advice would you give my students? Because I'm actually going to play this for them on Tuesday. No pressure.
Well, one of the things about doing the rewatch has been noticing how much Boy Meets World put pressure on going to college.
Yeah.
And like doing well on the SATs, and then if you don't go to college, and I think we're all pretty, nowadays, much more mellow about that idea, you know, that there's a lot of options out there, that going to college isn't the be-all, end-all, it's not necessary. I did go to college, I loved it. I would say, you know, I don't know, good advice, just never stop learning, whether it's in life experience, traveling, meeting different types of people, or, you know, just getting out of your comfort zone. I would say don't ever stop, you know, because you graduate from high school, and I think that, you know, sometimes people just want to not, you know, stop learning, or just find a job where they don't have to test themselves. I would say just keep testing yourself, just keep going out there, because, you know, life just keeps getting more interesting.
I didn't go to college. I was working the whole time. If I had to, just personally for me, if I had to do it now, I would go to a trade school, like a 2-year school. I would come out with no debt, a skill, and probably a job. So that's, I think Ryder's right, back in the 90s, there was kind of a stigma about that, where you're learning an awesome trade, and for some reason that was looked down upon as opposed to going to a 4-year school. Whereas, you know, I'd go and learn a trade and then just start working right away.
Thank you so much.
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Rosemary.
Hi, Rosemary.
Nice to meet you guys. I'm actually an independent researcher, and I study media and medicine. I have a question for Mr. Daniels, but if anybody else wants to chime in, go ahead. Mr. Daniels, in addition to your role in Boy Meets World, you starred in Ladybug. I'm not sure if anybody else has heard about it, but it dealt with nuclear war and the fear of violence in school. And you became SAG president, a position that has helped shape the industry, no doubt. As someone who's also guided us through the 90s with your character, Mr. Feeney, many of us who grew up with your grounding voice are now adults raising children in some way, even if they're not our children. In light of recent tragedies like the shooting in Minneapolis, what advice would you give today's creators of film and television about how to responsibly build worlds? Or what guiding principle do you hope that the next generation of storytellers remember when they're shaping culture through entertainment? And if it's all right with you guys, I'd like to get just a little bit closer for a video recording of your answers.
Wow.
Loaded question, but these are trouble.
Nothing about Girl Meets World, or
That's a complicated question.
Yeah.
And boy, he,
Is it okay if I get a little bit closer to the video?
I don't know, Bill, that's too complicated. I know you, they're talking about, she's talking about violence in school and gun shooting and things like that. And what you would feel about that as Mr. Feeney, and how you would have reacted if you were Mr. Feeney and that happened in a school, in your school.
I don't have any answers.
I didn't think you would, but just say the
No
last.
comment.
No. Say that, please. The last lines you said in the show, say them in the mic.
The last one. Well, he was a pretty firm teacher, and after the last show, they all left, and he stood in an empty room, and he said, "I love you all." That was a very moving thing for me to do in the last show.
My name is Stone Gasman. I'm a movie buff.
Wait a second, I'm sorry, before you go any farther.
You went over that really quickly.
No. I want to see if I get who you're cosplaying. Are you cosplaying Dabney Coleman?
Dabney Coleman from the 1984 movie
Cloak and Dagger. Thank you very much. Yes. One of the greatest movies of all time, and I got to do a movie with him, and I just bugged him every day about Cloak and Dagger. I swear to God, it's one of the best movies of all time. So when I saw you in line, I was like, there's no way he's doing Cloak and Dagger. But you are.
My favorite character actor of all time.
Yep, he was great.
Bless his soul. My question is, I only caught the Boy Meets World in the early years because I joined graduated from high school in '97 and joined the Navy after that. I just need to know because I wasn't able to find a confirmation online.
Yes, Corey and Topanga got married way too early.
Was the high school named John Adams High School because of my favorite musical of all time called 1776?
It was.
Thank you.
Absolutely was. Yeah. By the way, for anybody out there who hasn't seen Cloak and Dagger, it is totally worth it. It is a great movie. Yeah.
All right, so we have less than 15 minutes. We're going to try to get through as many as possible. Hello.
Hi, my name is Gabriel. And for Will and Ryder, I would say, what's your favorite part about the episode where Jack went out with Candace Cameron when she was playing a witch?
Oh, yeah, Witches of Pembroke. Yeah. One of my favorite parts of that was
my characters just being like totally into it, right? Like having so much fun.
And then isn't that the one at the end where
I'm
you're
a
just
frog.
a frog? Yeah.
We completely forgot. We were watching it. I was like, oh, that's ridiculous.
He just turns into a frog at the end, and everyone
He
was
went
like,
along with
"Alright."
it.
Yeah. No, it was good. That was
And
a
you
fun
were like suspecting everything, like she's a witch, like not a good one, like Linda.
Yeah, but a bad one, like with the monkeys. I remember the lines. Definitely.
And like the whole time Jack wouldn't believe him, and then until you just stop her. He just comes and stops everyone with Witchcraft for Dummies.
Yeah, Witchcraft for Dum Dums. Great book. Available down here.
Thank you so much. Hello, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Jules. I have a question about the season 4 episode 15, which was Chick Like Me.
Oh, yeah.
And it's about kind of your reaction to getting prompted the episode. When they told you would be cross-dressing and to be on 90s television and doing something like that wasn't common at the time, especially for an episode that didn't do it derogatively. How did you react to getting the script? Do you have any idea of the kind of impact it would have in the future?
No, I remember really liking the script and looking at it as a really fun acting challenge to begin with. As the week went on, I was not comfortable.
No, you had a tough week.
Yeah, and it was mostly because the amount of time I had to be in makeup. They put, they taped my face back. And then there was this weird thing that happened where people kept saying oh, you're so hot. And then also, our hairdresser, Lori, people kept coming up to her and saying, you guys look like sisters. And so we both kind of got offended by this. And for our own reasons, we were like, that doesn't feel right. In retrospect, when we watched it back, I was really proud of the episode. I think
It's a great episode.
I think the balance is it's a delicate balance, and I don't think, I feel like the episode holds up, and I was really proud of that watching it back. At the time though, in the course of the week, it was just a lot of work, and they put they tightened me up, not really a corset, it's some kind of slimming thing. It was a lot, there was a lot going on. And then wearing boots, like your boots, they're just so tall, and I wasn't comfortable. But it was, in retrospect, it's a great episode.
But it also shows it shows how even in the same show, something that could be a serious thing, can either be serious or a joke, because then Eric dresses up like a girl in season 7 and it's done completely as a joke. And it's just not, it doesn't have the same impact or the same import as when Sean dresses up. It matters and it means something, but it was just like, well, let's just throw Eric in a dress because that'll be fun. So the same show you can see doing the same thing 2 completely different ways. So, but no, we talked about that. That's arguably, that's on our list of best episodes of the entire series, is Chick Like Me.
Yeah, it was really formative for me and accepted like cross-dressing was something.
That's great. Spelled the right way.
Yes, there are. Thank you. In your most recent podcast episode, you make like a side comment about pre-show chatter you had to get rid of. Is there any that you're allowed to
We should have cut that.
Is there any that you're allowed to say? If not, it's fine, but it just was really interesting to listen to.
What about the one we just cut?
Or like, is there any, like, has there been any pre-show chatter that you're like, oh, that's so funny, but for some reason you just weren't allowed to keep it?
There's never any, I will say this, there's never anything we're allowed to keep or not allowed to keep.
Okay.
Truly, like we've never gotten, working with iHeart is so wonderful, they've never once come to us and said, you have to cut this, you have to cut that. It's us kind of saying, this conversation doesn't, or we're just doing it to make each other laugh or something like that. It doesn't make any sense or add anything to the conversation.
Yeah.
And usually it's a conversation that we're having because all we ever do is talk. So the mics will be on and it'll just be us just talking to each other.
Right.
And it'll be 10 minutes of that, and then we're like, well, that's obviously not the pre-show chatter, so then let's get into what we're gonna say.
Yeah, and the reason one, it was about prostitution in the valley.
Yeah.
And it was a really long, boring story where I went on a ride along with cops actually one time because of a filmmaker friend who had a cop brother, and but it just kind of went off the rails. It wasn't inappropriate. It was just. But so then Will decided to make a reference to the fact that we had already talked about that. It was like out of nowhere, and it was just too funny to cut out. So, but yeah, no, we never. I don't.
No, usually the pre-show chatter is the pre-show chatter. It's
Yeah.
what you hear is kind of what you get.
It's so good.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, we'll always start like, all right, who has pre-show chatter?
Okay.
And then one of us will usually be like, I got something, or I don't know if that'll work. But then the second one of us starts talking, it inevitably just leads into whatever pre-show chatter.
And it sounds so natural, like you can tell. It's amazing.
These are just the conversations we always have. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a few minutes left. We're going to try to get through as many as possible.
Yes, no questions.
Lightning
Go.
round.
Hi, my name is Steven Asadia, and for all of you, Mr. Feeney, Will, like just everybody, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Oh, thank you. All right. I love this. We should make this a regular thing.
Actually, here's one for you, because in the episode where Mr. Turner had his accident and he had to leave the show because of I know behind the scenes there were reasons why he had to leave. You don't have to get into that, but I know because that scene was such a powerful scene for you. When you were just begging him to wake up. What were you drawing on to really bring in how you know what I mean?
Acting, yeah.
Besides acting, what were you drawing on to really bring into that?
You know, when I was, it's interesting because when I was that age, when I was younger, and I was a very emotional guy. I've always been a very emotional guy, but I think, my wife is still a very good actor, and she can cry at the drop of a hat. It's she always has this access to her emotion, and I feel back then I actually worked on that, so I always felt like I could get somewhere emotionally pretty easily, and I remember saving it that week, waiting to really go fully into it until we were rolling, and we had our amazing director Jeff McCracken. Because I think a worse director might have said that day one of rehearsal, let's see what you're going to do, writer. And I remember Jeff being like, you don't have to do, you don't have to fully go there. Let's just say the lines, let's get through the scene and figure out where everything's going to be. And on the day, let's really go there. And I knew that he had my back and that he would support me. And I think we only did 2 takes. And yeah, I remember getting very emotional and very, it was. And same with when Chet died, it was another hospital scene with me and somebody in a hospital bed.
You had the baby at the NICU too. You were in hospital stuff.
I don't know hospital memoirs. Yeah, it was very dramatic. But I remember again, like Chick Like Me, really, as an actor, just loving the challenge. But yeah, I couldn't tell you what I was thinking. I just know that back then. I could access emotions pretty regularly, and that was, part of the job. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Your wife, does she do that? Like, honey, why don't you go to the grocery store?
That's pretty spot on.
That's pretty good, Alex. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We're not worried. Batman.
Ah, thank you.
Hi, real quick.
I came to the convention, I don't know if you guys can hear me or not.
Yes.
I came to the convention specifically for you four. Boy Meets World has a really big impact on me, on everybody. And my question is how is it that you guys can see the timeline change so much? How does it feel to know that you guys are timeless, but you're seeing just the world develop around you, whether it be good, bad, my anxiety's getting to me, whether it be anything. How does it feel to know that you guys remain timeless and can relate to almost every generation, but the world is still evolving? How does that sit with you guys?
I mean, it's an honor, and I feel just really fortunate. I think for a long time, because we were so young, and because I didn't feel, as an actor, you're not always in control of like what projects you're in, or you just kind of go to an audition, you try and get a job, you just want to do what your job is. So I just think it's kind of like one of those once in a lifetime things when you end up in something that is this well written and that resonates for this long for so many people. I think for a while, there's this, you talk about being timeless, but we're actually getting older. I don't know if you noticed. There's this thing that happens, like whenever it's my birthday, if you go onto social media, everyone's like, what? He's that old? Oh my God, that means I'm so old. And it's like, okay, so I'm you realize that you become the hourglass for popular culture because everyone, I guess, kind of expects us to stay exactly the age that we were in the show. So for a while there, that sort of made me feel weird and made me feel like I was letting people down just by living. But now I'm just so fortunate. I feel so lucky that anybody cared to begin with. And when I watch the show now, I'm very proud of that teenage actor, and I'm like, cool, man. Like, it's great that it connected and it worked.
Speaking for somebody who's 96, I've been through it's unbelievable, the change from what I remember as I was born in the Depression, the big Depression. And so I've gone through all that, and I cannot say that, it's been great, and I've loved it and all, and I'm scared to death right now. And I just think that, I don't know, there's just so much change, and it's too much, and so much of it is bad, and it's a very scary time to live in, but it's also, because we've been through so much, there's always the hope that we will get through this, and we will get back our democracy, and we will.
Before I leave, I'm sorry, I know you've heard this about 1,000 times, but Fine! I love you guys. Have a good one. Thank you for
Alright, so unfortunately that is our time. Are you guys going to go back to your tables after this?
Yes, definitely.
So if you guys have questions or sorry we weren't able to get to you, please swing by their tables, ask your questions there. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. And one more time. Please give our broadcast the Boy Meets World. And by the way, if you guys, as you're exiting, please go out that front door. Please, front door, not the side door. Please go out that front door. Thank you very much.
Class dismissed.